Welcome to Dano on the Counter. On today's show, we're going to make a sweet and sour pork.
Mouth-watering family recipes, easy-to-make meals, humor and faith fill the inspiring show Dano on the Counter. Born with only half a spine, Dan Burkhart was never supposed to hold his head up. Despite countless surgeries, a stroke, leg amputations, and kidney transplants, Dano developed a contagious love for life. Join Dano on the Counter as he shares his easy-to-make dishes and a hope that keeps him pushing forward.
For the sweet and sour pork, you're going to need 1 cup of pineapple juice, a half cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of ketchup, a 1/3 cup of white vinegar, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of oil, 1 red bell pepper, 1 green bell pepper, 1 onion, 1 pound of pork tenderloin, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, half teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic, 1 teaspoon of ginger, and 1.5 cups of pineapple chunks. Hey, it's Dano. So excited to be here with you guys this morning. Another episode of Dano on the Counter. Headed to the store to grab our ingredients for our meal today. Hopefully you guys are able to grab the things locally at your store and able to make this recipe hopefully in about 20-25 minutes, and because I know everybody's busy with their daily life, so I hope you're able to enjoy this next episode of Dano on the Counter. All right, today we're gonna make a nice sweet and sour pork. It has a nice little lean pork loin in it that we're gonna dice up and cook in our saute pan. Then we're gonna make our own sweet and sour sauce with ketchup and brown sugar and a little bit of vinegar. And then we're gonna add our vegetables to it, some bell pepper, some onions, some garlic. Throw that all in there, cook it off on the stove, serve it over rice or noodles, or if you wanna eat it plain, if you're trying to watch all your carbs. The only thing you gotta watch, obviously, it does have a little bit of sugar in it. But so we'll grab some pork and then we'll get out the rest of our ingredients. All right, so to have our sweet and sour pork, obviously we need some pork. We're gonna use an actual pork loin for this. You could use pork chops, pork roast, whatever you may have in the fridge. We're gonna slice this about 1 inch or so thick, and then we're gonna dice it up, saute it with our sweet and sour sauce that we're gonna make. So 1 pork loin should be plenty that we need for the whole dish. All right, so we need some ketchup for our sauce. This is gonna have all of our tang in it. It's gonna have some vinegar in it. So we're gonna add just a couple tablespoons of this. We're gonna mix it with a little bit of vinegar as well and some brown sugar. This is gonna add that sweetness and sourness, obviously, for our sweet and sour. So a little bit of ketchup, go with the Heinz. You may have that in your fridge already, but if not, we'll grab some. Next thing you'll need is a little bit of vinegar. You can use whatever really you have in your house. Apple cider is fine, red wine's fine. Just plain old white vinegar is good too. So you just need a couple tablespoons of this to go with our ketchup and brown sugar. So we'll add this to our cart. All right, so for our sauce, for our sweet and sour pork, we're gonna get some bell peppers here, any kind you want. If you want just plain green ones, whatever your family likes. Maybe you have a picky kid that's like, oh, I don't like red ones, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Usually these are a little bit sweeter than the green ones, but whatever your family likes. So we'll grab a couple yellows. We'll add some greens. Make sure you don't grab the jalapenos, then it'll be spicy, sweet and sour. But a couple green peppers, a couple yellows, and then we'll grab an onion over here. Grab a big old onion. And we'll chop all these up, throw them in our saute pan with our sauce, with our pork. Serve it over some rice, and it'll be fantastic. All right, so last couple ingredients here that we need is some minced garlic and some ginger for our sweet and sour pork. like I said, that you could use whatever you have in your fridge. If you have this already at home, or if you want to use raw, you can mince it yourself, make it yourself. But if you're in the store, it's easier sometimes just to buy it already done for you. We're gonna throw this in, we're gonna saute this up, get those flavors out of it, add it to our pork, all of our vegetables, with our sauce, with our ketchup and our vinegar and our sugars, and it should be a tasty meal. So we're gonna throw these in the cart, we're gonna check out, we're gonna head home and start cooking.
Impact Productions, a multi-layer technology company providing on-site, online, and in-studio video services. Contact Impact Productions to capture your story.
Hey y'all, welcome into the kitchen. Today we're gonna make a quick and easy sweet and sour pork. We have some pork tenderloin here that we're going to make a sauce for. We have some vegetables, we have some peppers and onions that we're gonna cook all together with a little bit of brown sugar and ketchup and vinegar and then pineapple. We'll be adding all these together to make a nice sweet and sour sauce for this pork. You can serve this over rice or noodles or eat it plain, however you want to eat it. But let's get started here with our sauce. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add our brown sugar, and that's about 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar there. Then we have about a 1/4 cup of ketchup. And ketchup adds that little bit of tang and sweetness to it. If you've ever looked up the ingredients for ketchup, it sure does have a lot of sugar already in it as well. So it's gonna add a lot of sweetness to this dish. The other thing we're gonna add for the sour component is our vinegar. About a 1/4 of a cup of white vinegar there. And then we have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch here. This is what's gonna make it a really thick sauce so that it sticks to the pork. So we're just gonna add that in there as well. And then we're just gonna whisk this together. And it'll be like that light orangey color. And then the last ingredient to this is gonna be some pineapple juice. And this is gonna have a lot of sugar in it as well. And that's about a cup of pineapple juice. So this is what we're gonna cook the pork in. We're gonna take this and set this aside. We're gonna brown up our pork and then put this glaze and our vegetables all together at the end. So we're just gonna take this. Now that's good and mixed, and we'll put it aside. Then we'll brown up our pork, and then we'll start on our vegetables. All right, so we have our sauce done there. Now we're gonna do our pork, and to add just a little bit of a crust to the pork, we're just gonna coat it in a little bit of cornstarch. So I have our tenderloin here. It's about a pound and a half, whatever they have available. And all I did was cut it up into little 1-inch chunks. And I'm just gonna pour some cornstarch over that. And I'm just gonna mix that all up in there together. Kind of turn. If I get my tongs open here. And just kind of coat these a little bit. They don't have to be perfect. Just so they get a little coating on there. Because we're going to brown these up in our oil. Now, you know pork is a little bit tricky. You need to make sure you cook it all the way through. You don't want anybody getting sick from eating raw pork. So, it's better to overcook it than undercook it when you're doing pork. So, got our tenderloin in here. Got our cornstarch coating. You could do this in a Ziploc bag if you want. Kind of shake and bake it. Kind of feel. But you just want a little coat on there. That'll help all that sauce stick to the pork when you're actually glazing it at the end. All right, so we'll take our pork and drop it in our pan. Just separate all those pieces. Put them all in here. Good layer of pork. The pork's going to have its own fat in it as well, so just a little bit of oil in there is all you're going to need. These will take probably 4 or 5 minutes on each side just to brown up. So sweet and sour pork, everybody does sweet and sour chicken all the time. Everybody does beef. Everybody does vegetables. But, you know, pork is one of those things that used to be very popular. But it is tender. And instead of doing a whole breaded chicken, this is a little bit lighter and fat-wise. But sugar, it is, of course, really high because all the pineapple juice, the ketchup, the brown sugar, of course, that we're putting in there. So maybe you don't want to eat this all the time, just on special occasions or rare occasions, but it's still a good meal to have. And it doesn't take that long. I'm just going to brown this up. Let that go on each side there for a few minutes on each side. All right, so we have our pork here. You can see that it's all browned off here. Cooked on both sides. I did check the temperature on it. We got to about 168, some around in there. So that's more than good for our pork. So we're good. I'm just always cautious when I cook pork, but we're just going to take these out. And then we're going to, so I'm going to just dump these out here, make it easy on myself here. Our little pork nuggets there, they look pretty good. And those will cook even on the plate there for a couple minutes with all that residual heat. So I'm going to set these aside. And next we're going to start with cook our vegetables down. So just a little bit of oil here to cook our vegetables in. And we're going to do some bell peppers here. And I have these pretty large because I like the crunch when I'm doing sweet and sour. When you're doing a sweet and sour meal, you have the pork and then you have the crunch of the pepper. You want to taste what you're eating when you're doing this. So the vegetables will get the sauce as well. It'll all come together really well together. So I have the peppers here, but like I said, I left them kind of in bigger chunks. And then to that, I have a little bit of ginger and a little bit of garlic that I'm going to add. About 2 tablespoons of each that I'm going to put in with the vegetables. So we got our garlic. And that's really high, so I'm going to turn that down a little bit. The peppers take a little bit longer than the onions, so I'm going to just put these in first for like a minute. And then we'll throw our onions in. Now when I'm cooking these, I want to cook them a little bit. I want to leave some crunch to it. I don't want to cook it all the way through. I don't want them to be mushy. I want that crisp on there. So bigger chunks, undercooked is how I like it. Now, by all means, if you have kids or whatever that don't eat, chunky food or whatever, all means you want to cook it all the way through and cook it down. But in this particular case, I'm going to leave it a little chunky. So those are cooking down. Now I'm just going to add our onions to this. And I did the same thing with the onion. I left it kind of large. Left it in bigger pieces so you can actually taste it. And then we'll cook these down just for a little bit, just till they get clear. But we want that onion flavor in there. It's a good sweet onion, especially with the garlic and the ginger and all that. It'll add that extra flavor where it won't be, like biting into a raw onion, especially with the amount of brown sugar we put in here. I remember when I was a kid, always going to a Chinese restaurant. We hardly ever had Chinese takeout. We had a really nice Chinese restaurant where I grew up, and we'd all sit around the table and have tea. And I was always the chow mein guy, and then my brother and my dad were always sweet and sour people. So they would get sweet and sour chicken. My mom and I would get chow mein. We'd sit around this big table, had a big Lazy Susan in the middle of it, and we would spin it around and share rice and hot mustard and all the sauces and things. And I just remember going to those restaurants that it was kind of nice. That was like a family thing that we'd always do, go out to a nice Chinese restaurant. And now I don't know, I mean, I guess there's certain ones, P.F. Chang's in them that are larger, nicer Chinese restaurants, but now it seems like when I eat it, it's mostly just takeout. It used to be kind of a fancy thing when I was a kid, but that was, of course, a long time ago. So as that cooks, I'm going to go ahead and add our pineapple. A couple cups of pineapple there. Just going to heat this through, and this is going to have its own sugars as well, so it'll kind of add that extra bit of sugar and glaze to the whole dish. You could add water chestnuts to this. You could add mushrooms to this, snow peas to this, broccoli, any vegetables that you want. And you could do it with chicken. You could do it with shrimp. You could use the same sauce for pretty much any protein that you wanted. Tofu, if you want, if you're into that. But yeah, we'll stick with the pork today. Okay, that looks good. We'll just grab our pork. We're gonna put our pork back in. Got our pork pieces. Kind of let that absorb all those flavors of the garlic and peppers and onions. It smells amazing in here. Just gonna heat all that back up. And lastly, we're just gonna add our sauce. Just gonna hit it one more time with the whisk. I'm just gonna pour this over top. All right, and we'll let that cook up. And that's that nice glaze that'll be on all the vegetables, all the pork. It's gonna be awesome. So just let that cook up for a little bit, that pineapple juice and that cornstarch. That'll thicken up really nice, and it'll be a complete dish. So we'll put all this together. We'll take it off the stove, we'll serve it up. Let this kind of thicken up a little bit. As we do that, we'll head over to the studio for a little inspirational message.
Dick's Home Care installs Bruno stair lifts, giving you your independence back. Pets are a part of the family, and they can be pretty smart. This dog knows the Bruno stair lift has a comfortable ride and is very safe and reliable. He watches his family using it, and they love it. Yes, this is a very smart dog. Bruno stair lifts. used by the whole family. Call the leader in home health care equipment, Dick's Home Care.
This segment is brought to you by Harry's Construction, whose motto is, "If you can dream it, we can create it." They are the kitchen and bath design experts, so call Harry's Construction for all your remodeling needs.
Hey everybody, welcome into the studio today. Today I just want to give you a quick inspirational encouragement word, something that's been on my heart, and that is talking about forgiveness. Something that we don't often do, or something that can be hard for us to do, is offering that forgiveness to others, but also are we asking for forgiveness? This is something that can be completely humbling for you, and it definitely is for me, is to admit when we're wrong, admit when we've hurt somebody, admit that I've fallen short here in something, and going to somebody and asking for forgiveness, but also going to God and asking for forgiveness for the sins, the things that we've done. We all have a conscience. We all know right from wrong. We learn that as a young kids. Sometimes we don't want to admit it, that, hey, I was wrong here. I know better, but I still did it anyways. Trust me, I do it as well. I do it, I don't want to say all the time, but there are times when I know the outcome of a situation that I'm like, I really should have looked at this a little differently, maybe taken my time, not reacted the way that maybe that I don't show God's love in that situation. I look at personal relationships, people at work, even customers that I deal with, that maybe I shouldn't have said things that I didn't mean. And those things, yes, they're important to, if you can, go to them and ask for forgiveness. But really, are we asking God for forgiveness? As we know, all of our sins have been forgiven from the cross. God has given us grace. He has distanced us from the sins that we've committed. Those things are all gone away and passed away. But we still need to ask God for forgiveness. And that is something, like I said, can be very humbling, that, are you taking the time to say, God, I messed up here. I definitely did not share your love in this situation. I fell short in this situation, knowing that the outcome, and maybe I lied, maybe that I purposely hurt somebody because they hurt me in the past, and to recognize that and to be humble about it, to humble yourself in front of God, is a tough thing to do. Something that I have struggled with. Your conscience tells you, even when you get in those situations, maybe I shouldn't do this, but hey, we do it anyways. That's our human nature, and to have a new mindset that, hey, I need to stop myself, think about this outcome before I say this, or before I do these things. That's a personal struggle. It's something I'm sharing with you because I deal with it all the time, and I just want to encourage you that I'm in the same boat. I know you probably have the same thoughts, that nobody's perfect, obviously. We want the best for everybody. We want the best for our own lives and for other people. But I want you to take that extra maybe 10 seconds and think about, hey, what's the outcome here? What am I saying? What am I doing? That can really have an impact in how you treat people and how you live your life. And I think that's what God, and wants us to live like. But getting back to the forgiveness from asking God, it can be a simple little prayer like, hey, God, forgive me for the way that I treated this person today. God, please forgive me for the attitude that I woke up with this morning. God, forgive me for the person that I cut off in traffic today. The person that I really felt like, that I hung up on in the car, things like that. Somebody who I gave a dirty look to. Somebody that I broke their heart, somebody that I, really hurt them by cutting them down or said mean things about them to others or to their face. Hey, I've been there. I've done it, and that is a tough thing to do, to say, God, I am not perfect. I've made a mistake. The forgiveness is already there. He's already forgiven it. It's our job then to humble ourselves and ask God for that forgiveness. He is there for you. Like I said, he's given you that forgiveness already. And then take it and forget about it. As God has put it away and separated us from that sin, he's given us that forgiveness. We don't need to worry about it anymore. Don't let those things weigh on you, and the things that you've done in the past, things that you've done. Once you've asked for forgiveness from that person and from God, hey, it's out. It's out of your head. It's off your heart. And then you don't need to let that be a stumbling thing for you. It can really hinder you from joy in your life and the things that God is doing in your life, because you're caught up in the things in the past that you've done. So my encouragement today is just ask for forgiveness. Seek God for forgiveness in your prayer life and what God is doing in your life, but also seek those that you've hurt and ask for forgiveness today. Maybe after you see this show, you want to send somebody a text like, hey, I'm sorry. I really hurt you. And I'm sorry for that. Please forgive me. It's a hard thing to do, but you can do it. And that's what I want to encourage you to do this morning. Whenever you see this show, there's somebody that you hurt, I encourage you to ask for forgiveness today to God and to that person that maybe you've hurt. So I hope you take that today and do that this morning. Do that today. Maybe you don't want to do it right now. It might take a couple minutes, but then do it. But I hope that encourages you today to do that as well. So in the meantime, let's head back over to the dining room and enjoy some awesome food. Hey y'all, welcome into the dining room today. We have our sweet and sour pork. We have Jackson with us. We have Troy. And guys, take a bite and let me know what you think. Try some pineapple there maybe. Get some pork.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Reminds me similar to what my mom used to make when she'd make her sweet and sour.
Yeah. You can definitely tell the combination, sweet and sour.
It's really good, yeah.
Lots of pineapple in there. Peppers. Well, hope you guys are able to try this at home. Reach out to me online and let me know what you think. And thanks so much for watching this week's episode here of Dano on the Counter. And we'll see y'all next week.